Wonderful craftsman, Cody Design from Eden Derry there. Well, now we're moving from the Midlands up to the north to meet a Fermanagh woman who has put together a collection of items which are irreplaceable and which also trace the history and the development of a particular Irish skill. And Alistair Jackson has been finding out that she did it all out of love.
Belnalec's a quiet village in South Fermanagh, and it's very small. Some might even call it a hamlet. There's a church, a petrol station, some houses, and a few shops. You'd imagine there's nothing here to set it apart from 1,000 other small Irish villages. But there is. Next door to Belnalec's tea shop is housed a unique collection of old Irish lace. Not just the local Inishmacsaint lace, but samples of lace from across Ireland. Belnalec has a lace museum that wouldn't be out of place in a capital city. 20 years ago, Rosemary Cathcart began collecting lace. Lace and everything about it was and is her passion.
Of course, as the collection grew, I thought, really, because the lace is just not represented enough in Ireland, you know, considering how much was made and how amazing the women were that made it. I just thought, really, there should be a museum as a tribute to the women that were so skillful.
So, 10 years ago, the museum came into being. And it's obvious that it was born of love, not a desire for profit. If only economic facts were taken into account, no one would have opened it here. But amazingly, word of the museum has spread around the lace world. And for the experts and the really interested, Belnalec now has a must-visit designation. Veronica Rowe is one such expert. Like Rosemary, she has an ongoing love affair with lace, and with the late Nellie O'Clery, has written a history of Limerick lace. She's impressed with what Rosemary has done.
At the moment, there are not many places where you can, go to see lace, so her collection is really unique and a very good cross-section of the different laces made in the country. So I think it's particularly important, her collection there.
So it's the range of different Irish laces here which is one of the main attractions. And if you want to know anything about any of them, just ask Rosemary.
This is Irish crochet lace. All these larger motifs will be worked first with a hook and a ball of thread, very fine thread. Then they're laid out on a pattern and all the little joining stitches, and you're left with a beautiful collar. This is a lovely example of Limerick lace, and this is a Limerick tambour lace, where all the decoration is put in with a chain stitch and then all the little filling stitches. And the other type of Limerick is with a run stitch, so it's slightly smoother on the surface. Now this is a beautiful piece of Carrickmacross, worked on net with a second piece of fabric on top. The outline of the pattern couched round and all the excess cut away to leave a beautiful pattern. This is the yawl needle lace, made entirely with a needle and thread on a pattern. Pattern is outlined with a heavier thread, then all the little filling stitches with a lighter thread, all the net, all entirely made by hand. Now this cabinet contains our Inishmacsaint collection, and this is the local County Fermanagh lace made in Derrygonley. And it's a needle lace, and it's always made with a linen thread, slightly heavier than the yawl, and sometimes they put an extra layer of work on top, and sometimes it's just flat.
Lace has always been highly prized, and still is. A Carrickmacross lace veil like this one in Rosemary's collection was worn at a Danish royal wedding 5 years ago. The skill required and the time it takes was to be its undoing. As the 20th century passed its halfway mark, fewer and fewer people were prepared to devote themselves to this art, and the making of lace by hand began to die. So putting together a collection like Rosemary's wasn't easy.
And mainly I would buy at auction or antique fairs or lace dealers I've made contact with over the years will send me Irish pieces. And then just occasionally I might get sent a collection in the post.
This was sent to her through the post because of her work to preserve old lace. And that work is highly rated by visitors to her museum.
It's amazing. I can't imagine how all this was collected, and it's so well labeled and so beautifully displayed. It's really gorgeous.
Well, it's quite impressive. I can't imagine folks just sitting around doing this day in, day out. They had the time and patience, really. You don't see that these days too much.
It's just amazing that people have taken the time and the energy and the creativity to do this for so many years and to pass it along. It's incredible.
A great museum of lace in the village of Ballinalek in County Fermanagh there, and it's well worth a visit.